I really wanted to create a mushroom-themed collage, and for that I returned to the Strathmore Mixed Media Journal. This is my third project in this book, but you can see the previous spreads. They're linked in the description. In a moment, you'll see me move my tea mug from the right to the left, because my brush water is on the right. Pretty sure you've all had those times when you dipped a brush into a beverage by mistake. Oh, not me. Are you kidding? You've got to be a real Yeah, more than once. In the previous video, I held the microphone in my hands, and that created some unwelcome thump-thump sounds. So this time I'm not touching the mic. That means I can't lean back in my chair. The sacrifices I make for this channel. Actually, that also means I can't doze off while recording, which nearly happened last time. I wanted a sort of woodsy nature feel, and since this is mixed media paper, I decided to create a background using watercolors. Daniel Smith's Cascade Green and Schminke's Perylene Green were the chosen colors. Yeah, I love greens. Just call me Green Fiend Irene. On second thought, please don't call me that. It makes me sound like a horticultural whiz. Nope, not even close. Sure, I've fantasized about having lush potted ferns in every room. I've even daydreamed of a homesteading lifestyle, complete with raised planting beds overflowing with plump fruits and veggies. But the sad reality is, growing things has never been my forte. Unless the organic cultures at the bottom of old coffee mugs count. You know, the kind that releases spores when moved. Any brush would have done the job here, but I chose my Aqua Elite half-inch stroke. As I was painting this background, I knew that much of it was going to get covered up. I just hoped that enough would peek through to make it worthwhile. The first color I laid down, Cascade Green, is interesting due to the pigment separation that occurs. So some areas are more greenish or bluish than others. It's a cool effect. The Perylene Green here is a nice greenish black, but looking at it now, I wish I'd used something else. Something warmer, maybe. I know. German greenish raw umber. The color that Becky Tregear dedicated an entire video to for its ugly but useful quality. I definitely think of it as a shroomy shade. Unfortunately, I don't have that one yet. And honestly, I don't know what I'd use it for besides mushrooms and mud. On producer Mike's return from spending 2 weeks with relatives in Florida last month, he delivered a vintage magazine, circa 1960s, from his very thoughtful daughter. So, of course, I tore out some lovely forest pictures that perfectly complemented the theme of the day. Does that make up for them all having theme park fun without me? Yes, as long as I get an ocean cruise sometime within the next few years, because no one is getting younger. If I'm too decrepit, I won't be able to shimmy up and down a gangway. I almost said gangplank, which is similar, but sounds more piratical. I haven't tried that recipe there. Sautéed mushrooms with sesame ginger. It sounds good, but no, I haven't tried it. I have cooked homemade Hungarian mushroom soup several times, as well as the super easy 3-ingredient crock-pot ranch mushrooms. The soup is delicious, if a bit dill-heavy. But of course, you can easily adjust the amount of the herbs. Yes, I say herb. Mainly because when I say herb, I feel as if I'm trying to pass myself off as a Brit by dropping me H's. But if you think that's strange, get this. It's the Brits who pronounce it herb, which, as far as I know, is the only time they actually pronounce an H. All of that aside, I also say herb because it reminds me of the sleazy sales manager at radio station WKRP, the one who always rolled in late and wore polyester plaid suits. What can I say? I like plaid. Maybe I'm just naturally suspicious, but those dudes in the photo look like troublemakers to me. I imagine they went around poaching all the best morels, chanterelles, and kings. Yep, they took what they wanted, and woe to any who stood in their way. Death cap cocktail, anyone? Actually, and I did not know this before today, mushroom beers are a thing. Well, a craft brew thing, anyway. So I expect it's small batch stuff and hard to find. Sort of like the best foraging grounds. Which is one reason why mushroom hunting as a source of income can get a bit cutthroat. Someone has to gather those delicious wild fungi, and only the hardiest hunters are up for the challenge of tromping through miles of uneven woodland to find them. My mental image of an experienced shroomer is either big and burly or compact and wiry. Neither of which I'd want to fight over a couple of dozen frilly-edged chanterelles. I may have gone overboard in collecting fungal ephemera, since this is just the tip of my shroomy stash. One of the ways producer Mike and I indulge our mycological mania is by hunting and gathering mushroom ornaments for our fall-a-day tree. We keep an eye out wherever we go. One of our favorite ornaments was from a gift shop in Leavenworth, and another was from Mulbach's in Woodinville. Another way we indulge is, of course, by cooking and eating them. Chanterelles are tasty, simply sautéed with butter and mounded on toasted bread. Whatever you do, don't boil your chanterelles in a big stock pot. Add bouillon cubes, colorant from a bottle, or powdered gravy mix. I once saw someone do all of those things. It was the most devastating YouTube video I've ever watched, and that's saying something. Growing up, the mushrooms in our house were mainly dried shiitakes that, more often than not, ended up in soups with tofu and wakame. But it's not all about the fancy varieties, since I get a lot of pleasure from the common button mushrooms that cost a mere $3 per carton. So, yeah, when in 1993, Shonen Knife sang their paean to the brown mushrooms found at an Italian restaurant, I was like, yes, somebody gets it. When it comes to washi tape, I held out for as long as I could. And now that I can no longer deny how much fun they are, I want more. We all knew that was going to happen, thus the initial resistance. This thing could have been wrapped up about 4 stickers ago. But in my head, I was thinking, when else am I going to use all of these mushroom stickers? There is a tentative plan for a future mycological spread, so that a folded, handwritten copy of the Hungarian mushroom soup recipe can be tucked inside. Something I wish I'd thought of while working on this one. While re-watching the first season of the Hulu series Only Murders in the Building, several scenes were entirely new to me. Apparently, on first viewing, I fell asleep at times. Back in my teen years, it amazed me how my mother could fall asleep in her chair while watching her favorite program. Always a night owl, I got by on 5 hours of sleep on school nights because, for some reason, our local TV station chose to show The Avengers after midnight. I'm not talking about superheroes, but rather the British secret agent series from the 1960s. Mainly, I watched for Mrs. Peel. What impressionable young woman didn't want to be Emma? She was brilliant, beautiful, and deadly. I mean, she once took out a bad guy with a javelin. A javelin! Plus, she made every outfit look like the best idea ever. What was my point? Oh, even though it was past my bedtime and I had to be in homeroom at 7 a.m., I never fell asleep during the Avengers. As they say, getting old sucks. If only we'd had streaming services back then. I could have binged the Mrs. Peel seasons on the weekend and been able to concentrate in class on weekdays, leading to higher education and more lucrative job prospects. Darn it. I could have ended up both smarter and richer, which means I could afford to have chanterelles on toast more than once every 6 years. Those rub-on stickers are fun. Sure, you have to cut them from the sheet, rub the backside, and hope you did a good job before you peel the backing. But extra steps are part of the enjoyment of rituals, like brewing loose tea in a pot and straining the leaves as you pour. Of course, most of my stickers are the simple peel and stick sort. I'll let you in on a little secret. Sometimes it's not easy differentiating between die cuts and stickers, or between stickers and rub-ons. On several occasions, I've spent way too long trying to peel something, only to find it's not a sticker at all. That falls under the heading of collage confoundery, along with covering too much of the underlayers and trying to slip something beneath something else that's been too well glued. Not having a bottle of brown ink, I decided to not use my glass-tip pen, but rather a sepia pit artist pen from Faber-Castell. Don't strain your eyes trying to read what I wrote. It's not my best work. I resorted to using Sasquatch as a deus ex machina, and now I feel no better than Harry and the Hendersons, The Secret of Bigfoot two-parter on the $6 Million Man, and the Lassie Jerky episode of Psych. Interestingly, the Psych guys once had to solve a shroom poisoning mystery. Turned out it was death cap tainted risotto. I've always been wary of risotto. I mean, who wants to eat gloopy rice? And it has nothing to do with my epic fail at cooking it myself. Actually, it has everything to do with it. After seeing the movie Big Night, I attempted a risotto. But this was before allrecipes.com and Pinterest, and I don't recall where I got my recipe, but it was so bad that I've never had another go. So, in my mind, risotto is associated with regret and despair. Sort of like my culinary eagle versus rabbit. For those new to this channel, Eagle versus Rabbit is so far my worst painting ever, and I have yet to paint another eagle or rabbit. But don't follow my example. If it's important to you, don't give up so easily. For my part, there's no burning desire to achieve wildlife painting mastery, so you won't find me in the corner boning up on animal anatomy. No, no, don't open the freezer. What? I'm happy to share my my fungal fascination with you. It's not every day I get to meander on without somebody leaving the room. But that's the beauty of YouTube. I can't see when people leave. Well, unless I study the analytics, which I don't, because it's confusing. Because I was too busy losing sleep rather than paying attention in class. Dude, we've been over this. Until next time, keep your mushroom field guide on you at all times. You don't want to gather toxic lookalikes. Seriously, I've seen single white female. And stay artsy, my friends.